Okay, welcome back to another special little clinic I've got for you. I'm delighted to have my friend Mike Duerksen here from Build Good, all the way in Winnipeg. Mike, is that correct?
Winnipeg, Manitoba. Yeah.
The sun never shines and it snows 368 days of the year, all the time. But I'm delighted to have Mike here. Mike is a fascinating super nerd of super nerds, sort of like me, and I appreciate all the amazing information you put out there in the world, Mike, because it's valuable to actually me and many other people. So I'm really delighted you can spend some time with us and share a couple of your thoughts with all of us.
Thanks for having me. Let's do it. Let's get into something.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. All
Here's
right. I thought we could talk about how to raise undesignated money, undesignated cash. It is something that seems to come up quite frequently for us. And John, you feel free to disagree at any point here or push back on something. And you know, um But the gist is that we want to raise money to have free cash flow, to use it in any way that we want. And we know that fundraising appeals just tend to perform better when we focus on like a very specific problem and then like a very specific way that a donor can help solve that problem. Typically, we focus on one story that relates to the problem that supports the offer. And we have this one clear and specific offer. But oftentimes that for the fundraiser causes a big giant problem internally, which is that somebody says, we can't do that. We need to raise undesignated funds. And we've got 90 programs that we run, and we've got like 15 different ways that we do this. And our work is a lot more nuanced than this. And, if we only focus on this one problem and like this one story, the donor might think that all they're doing is solving that very specific problem. And what if they ask us, what if they see us in the grocery store and they're like, hey, did you solve that one specific problem for that one specific person? And then what do I say? And so these are often internal problems. They're often perceived problems, but they do have a fairly easy solution. And that is we can just change around some of the wording and change some of the words that we use. And the amazing news is that changing the words we use is free. It costs us nothing. All it costs us is a little bit of thought, a little bit of care, a little bit of imagination, a little bit of thinking about it, and oftentimes a little bit of internal alignment. So I'm going to give you three sort of key requirements if you want to be in the clear in front of your CFO or in front of your programs person or your CEO, who they want to make extra sure that this is undesignated funds. So there's three key requirements that you should include while still having one problem, one story, one offer. And then to be super, super safe, I'm going to give you two bonus elements that you could also include. I'll show you some examples. And I also want to be clear, some of this might take away a little bit from the appeal, but sometimes we have to make these little concessions in order to bring people along. So the three requirements to undesignate your funds and be in the clear. Number one is somewhere in your letter, somewhere in your appeal, somewhere in your email. You just want to ask your donor to help you solve a specific problem and the overall problem that your organization is sort of on this mission to fix. Like chances are you've got an overall big problem in the world that you're trying to solve. And then within that, you're solving different little problems. So focus on a little problem, but then say your funds will also help in our overall larger mission. So your gift will not only help with this very specific thing, but it will also help in many other ways. You might help people in this way or that way or this way. Or you might say something like, hey, when you give today, your gift will do this one very specific thing and help in many other ways that contribute to the overall mission. So this is an example where the design is actually a little bit makes the copy a little bit harder to read. But let's focus on the subheadline here, which is this is a summer heat relief offer. And it's basically an organization that works with people experiencing homelessness. And the offer is, you know what? It's super hot today. Let's make sure that people who don't necessarily have a home that we can provide for them with water and sunscreen and cooling shelter. And then there's a little two words here, three words, and transformative care to neighbors facing the heat. So, and transformative care does a lot of heavy lifting there.
It does. That's great.
So, this is like, water, sunscreen, and a bunch of care,
Yeah.
right? So that's one way. In an appeal, you have a little bit more space for a bit more copy. Of course, as a subheadline, you're going to be very snappy. Um, Here's another way that the same organization is handling this. So $42 is going to provide a food hamper. It will also connect community members to our outreach team who delivers vital supports. So that is 80% of the work this organization does, is providing vital supports through an outreach team. So again, that does a lot of heavy lifting, right? So if you include something like this, you can always point back to this and be like, no, we did say it's going to be this, and it's also going to be some of these other things. That's
Mhm.
the first requirement, super easy. Second requirement is basically doing the same thing, but doing it in the reply device. So, when you have that little statement that affirms what the donor is about to do, the action they're about to take with their gift, just also say, hey, it's going to be this specific offer and the overall mission. So, yes, I want to help this specific ways and in other ways. Yes, here's my gift to give emergency food and other changing help for a family going hungry in my community. So you just want to make sure that you also include that in the reply device. That way, the actual little, the reply device is like the donor sending you back kind of like a little certificate or almost like a little contract or a little bit like, this is what I'm going to do. You want to make sure it's in there as well. Requirement number 3, include a short and clear restricted gift policy on the reply device or a coupon. Look, I'm not a huge fan of a ton of small print on reply devices. This is one of the ones that I think can be prudent to include. Chances are your organization has a restricted gift policy already, and you can make it super short. So the first example here is just in case funds exceed the projects described here, we will use the money where it is most needed. You can just put that somewhere. The bottom one here is a longer sentence. This is an example from one of our clients. So this is working with the client's sort of compliance team to make sure that the statement is a little bit more robust.
Mhm.
I think a one sentence, short and clear, is all you need. Um, this is an example of a client that combines some of these three requirements. So the appeal is about helping provide livestock to people in, I believe this may have been Ethiopia. So they can like raise these goats and then sell the milk and then feed their families and all of this. So it is, I'll provide livestock and more to families in need around the world. So this is very unrestricted, depending on the organization. Sometimes this is as clear as you can get it. Sometimes you just take what you get. Um, and then on the back of the reply device, we we ended up having to we wanted to frame it in a very positive way. And so we ended up saying your donations are distributed where needed most to achieve maximum effectiveness for the most vulnerable. So that's turning the unrestricted thing into a benefit and being like that helps you achieve the maximum effectiveness for your gift. All right, now we've got two bonus ways to make extra sure that your funds are undesignated. The first one is you can come right out and say it in the appeal.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, great. Yes,
yeah,
yes. What am
please
I
know.
doing?
Yeah, well, why not just do that, right? Like, please know that if we reach our fundraising goal, your gift is going to go toward the next greatest need to help families fleeing war or disaster. As easy as that. Um, doesn't take away from the strength of the appeal necessarily. And I tend to believe it comes across as very honest and truthful. Yeah. Bonus number 2 is why not allow the donor to restrict or unrestrict the gift?
Mm.
It increases their sense of autonomy a little bit. We have tested this. Most donors unrestrict the gift. But why not just give them that option? So, number 1, you can check off, please direct my gift to the families fleeing violent conflict in Ethiopia. we also make sure that that it is also kind of unrestricted. So like if you reach the funding goal, please use my gift where needed most. Right. So this allows you to restrict donations until you've met your goal.
Yeah,
Or please use my gift where needed most to help as many children and families in crisis around the world. Um, a vast majority of donors ended up choosing the second option.
interesting.
Um, but
Interesting.
even people who chose the first option, uh, great. Now you get to meet your funding goal, and anything over and above you get to use in any way that you want. I can give you this little everything we just talked through. We just put it in a short checklist, and that's that's where we would start with undesignating funds. I don't think it has to be any more complicated than that. But what? How do you handle this?
No, that's great. I mean, Mike, you and I do this a lot, and I am, I got trained in the agency environment where it was about the annual appeal. You're just asking people to renew their support for this big empty bucket that we were trying to fill year over
Right.
year, which was kind of my understanding is kind of a very American politics kind of way of fundraising, but the more international European way, especially, was always rooted, like George Smith was always rooted around asking for one thing specifically, So every appeal was a special appeal because it was about a special topic, a specific topic. And so like that's something we apply in our work and again our friends internationally do as well. So it's not about so charity's like, well, we're really I've never had a charity say to me, you know what we do is really simple here, John. I know everyone's complicated. I get that, but the complications are not your donor's problem. That's a you problem. So you need to actually find things that your donor can get behind, programs, again, different offerings, whatever it may be, that they can help be a part of and solve and stuff. So again, I like some of the language that you've used here. I think is even for us is kind of helpful to have that in your back pocket. But again, it's not about that this is the one thing we do that all encompassing of all the things we do, but we're just going to focus on the specific topic, and that's how we address it, which is this is just one of many things of which you've heard about this here and this here and this here and this here. But say this is the problem we're bringing to you that we need some help with, and here's what it is and stuff. Because donors want to get that's why gift catalogs are so amazing because
Right.
oh, I can give $10 and get a goat, or I can give, I can imagine that, I can picture that, I can understand what my gift is going to do. It does unlock better and greater giving when you can be a little more specific and tangible like that. So
Yeah.
choice is yours. You want to be a big generic black hole that donors supposed to like throw their money into, you can be that if you wish. I don't find it's very effective for fundraising, but I do like what you're suggesting here.
Yeah.
Give me the language to again apply this idea.
Yeah. I mean, just think about a friend asking you for to help them financially, right? Somebody says, "Hey, can I have 500 bucks?" That's a little bit different than, "Hey man, my car broke down. Can you lend me 500 bucks so I can get the brakes fixed? I just my next paycheck is in 2 weeks and I need the car. Depend on this thing, right?" All of a sudden you're like, "Oh no, I've got like a very there's like a clear and specific reason why you might need this money." And I'm happy to help out. And you know,
Yeah, and if you decide to give me 600, I can maybe upgrade my wheels too. So,
right.
it's all good. All helps every bit. Yeah.
Every bit
I think that's
helps.
great, Mike. I would like to just kind of leave that little nutshell because I think it's like all these clinics are supposed to be little nutshells, little
Mhm.
like micro topics about something quite specific. And that's a really good one. And I do appreciate you sharing that with all the amazing people watching this video today. So
Nice.
thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for you. I'm always grateful to chat with you.
Hey, big fan of you, John. You know that, and thanks for involving me in this project. And thanks for doing this for free, by the way. These DM clinics. Uh,
Yeah, they're
that's
no problem. Yeah, it's great.
that's an amazing act of generosity.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. All right, we'll see you next time.